welcome to the first of a short series of videos that I'm going to do for you that is going to involve Project 2. So what we're going to be doing is talking about in this series what to do next after you've gotten your survey back. What are the steps involved in doing Project 2? Well, the first thing that you have to do is number one, correct the errors. All right, so you've gotten your survey back, and I may have marked some things on it, suggestions about things to change. There may be some of your attitudinal questions, which are on the front, on your first page. Those are the ones with the Likert scale. Sometimes people phrase them incorrectly. Sometimes they phrase them as, for example, as questions instead of statements, that kind of thing. Then, of course, on the demographic side, there may be an issue around whether or not, for example, you have the question on religion on there. Should it be on there at all? And should it be something that you could just take off? For example, if you have a particularly sensitive topic that you're dealing with, you may not want to have, if it's a topic that it's not related to your topic, that the religious question isn't related, then what you'll want to do is maybe just remove it and put in your own question if you want, or just take it out entirely. For example, if your survey is about something like abortion, then yeah, the religion question makes sense. But since it's a sensitive topic to ask people about their religion, if your topic isn't related to it, if it's about social media, something like that, or then maybe you don't need it. But that's your call. You're the researcher. It's just that sometimes people won't answer those questions if they don't think that they're somehow relevant. Secondly, you may have you may have your own questions you want to put in there. Okay. So the next step of what you're going to do, number 2, is you're going to need to make copies. Once you get your survey kind of perfect the way you want it, because you can't change it after you start handing it out to people, you're going to need 30 completed questionnaires for this project. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get at least 30 copies. I suggest doing a couple of extra. The reason why is because it's possible that maybe some of them, so you might hand one out to somebody and they take it and just mark stuff real quick, and you just know that they really weren't giving you their true answers. They were just kind of what we call random responding. At that point, you just wait till they leave and you kind of toss it, because it's not going to be good data for you anyway. And so if you have a couple of extra that way, just in case. If you end up with an extra one afterward, don't worry about it, because you're going to need a clean copy of your questionnaire for your paper anyway. So you're going to have 30 plus copies. You're going to need to go around and hand them out to people, right? You're going to have them completed. So who do you hand them out to is the question. It actually depends on you. You're the researcher, so you may, for example, decide that it's just easiest just to hand them out to people in your classes. If you do that, make sure that you ask your professor beforehand, because that really doesn't. I've done this a long time. They don't really like that if they're trying to start class and everybody's filling out your surveys. So ask them, get permission first, and then what you're going to do is you may hand them out to other students. You may hand them out in the hallway. You might hand them out at work to your coworkers, your family, friends. People at a mall. I mean, it's up to you how you do that. But once say if you were interested in whether or not men are going to answer differently than women, you might decide to have half of your surveys men and half of them women, right? So you got this 2 piles, and that might help because then you can kind of compare the two groups when you do calculations later on. Possibly, it's up to you. You don't have to do that. You might decide that you want to figure out whether or not young people answer differently than older people. So you hand some out to maybe 20 to 22-year-olds, and then 40 to 42-year-olds or something. I mean, this is all up to you. Or you could just hand them out to whoever's convenient. Whatever, just keep track of that, because you're going to have to report it later in your paper. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to keep track of who individually you're handing them out to, just kind of what are the demographics of those people. Okay. Now, the third idea here is actually the implementation, meaning how do you implement it? When you hand them out to people, it's generally better to do it in your presence. Not to say you don't want to stand over them, right, and affect how they answer. You don't want to see how they're answering. You want to give them some privacy. But maybe stand a few yards away or something and kind of wait for them. And the reason why is because if you give them to someone and you say, hey, could you, even your best friend, right, could you get this back to me tomorrow or the next day? They say, sure. They stuff it in their backpack. And then they forget, right, because they're as busy as you are. And so what do you do then? Well, you're kind of stuck. It's better so that you don't end up having that happen. If you happen to have a sensitive topic, one of the things that you can do, and you're afraid people won't answer in a way that is honest, so if you're asking about something about whether or not people's attitudes about racism or things like that, and you're afraid they won't give you honest answers, you can get a manila envelope and hand it to them with the survey, and say, when you're done with this, because anonymity is important, right? When you're done with this, go ahead and put it in the envelope, and then I'm going to be putting them all in there, and I'm not going to be looking through them until I get all of my surveys completed. That way they feel like that you're not going to be looking at their answers as soon as they walk away and criticizing them or judging them. People have all kinds of stuff that goes on in their head sometimes when that's the case. They're worried that people might think badly of them. Okay, so this is that part of this first section of this. The next thing we're going to do is go on and talk about calculating percentages.